Have you ever died to this when playing Geometry Dash? Well, you're definitely not the only one. Today, I'll be going through the worst jumps featured in the main levels. In fact, some of these are so terrible, they'll make you wonder what RobTop was even thinking. Let's get right into it. First of all, we have this jump found at 80% in Deadlocked, right at this wave to ship transition. You've got to hold just long enough to fly over this spike here, while avoiding the other spike above you. What makes this so difficult is that RobTop decided to make this whole section move upwards, so you can't really tell where to go initially. I died here so many times when trying to complete Deadlocked, and unfortunately, this jump isn't much better. I'm talking about the dual ball click in Hexagon Force. You can't click too early or the lower ball crashes into the spikes, but if you wait too long, the upper ball falls straight into the saw. Then you have to repeat the exact same timing again before hitting 2 orb clicks just to make it into the ship portal. It's such an awkward sequence because one mistimed click sends one of the balls to his death. It's really unbalanced and probably the sole reason it's rated so difficult in the first place, making it a really strange design choice by RobTop. You should really playtest his levels more. But another really annoying click can be found in the second half of the first level, Stereo Madness. It's right after this pretty simple ship section, and for the first level in the entire game, you'd expect it to be pretty forgiving. However, for some reason, RobTop decided to throw one of the most difficult jumps in the game, the triple spike, straight into the first level, which, by the way, doesn't appear again until level 5. Now, while that's only really a mild inconvenience, our next jump is found in this really awkward cube section in Cycles. It takes a little bit of memory to hit the correct orb, and then you also need some skill in order to dodge these triple spikes here. Not only this, but you've got to remember which yellow pad to choose or else this happens. But things only get worse from here, because next up we have Time Machine's mirrored triple spikes at the end of the level. These are hell for the first few attempts until you learn you can just buffer click them. They're more tricky than annoying, but nonetheless pretty harsh for a harder rated level. And talking about harsh clicks, this UFO section at 75% in Theory of Everything is probably the only reason it's rated insane. You start by entering this mini portal, and then you've got to click once to avoid the spike, and another time to avoid crashing into this other spike above you. After that, you've got to remember which path to follow from the 3 by following this arrow here. It's pretty hard to memorize the timings on your first attempt, and it's really annoying to do consistently, which is why it's here, but this still isn't the worst click out there, and that's because this jump at 32% in Clutterfunk exists. You have to click lightly so that you can avoid this spike in front of you, while not hitting the other spike right above you. It's quite similar to Deadlocked's 80% ship transition, but this time, there's less room for error. At least in Clutterfunk you can actually tell where to go for most of the level, unlike what you see here. Anyway, speaking of visibility, this memory sequence in Geometrical Dominator is a pain to sight read, because the only way you can tell where to go is by following these little stars. This makes it super annoying to play if you haven't practiced it beforehand. I don't know what RobTop was thinking, because this isn't fun at all. This click in particular is really annoying because you've got to blindly guess where the orb is going to be since you have no time to react. A better idea would have been for RobTop to have just deleted this entire part because nobody wants to play this. And if you thought that was bad, this ship section at 87% in Club Step is incomparable to it. If you want to beat the level, you've got to hold here, then release as soon as you enter the portal so that you don't go flying into the spikes. Trying to gain consistency on this part is really irritating, especially if you're new to the game, but once you get used to it, it does get much easier. And speaking of easy things, subscribing's pretty simple too, so I think you know what to do. Anyway, let's get back to the video. This ship section at 95% in Electronamics is terribly designed. You're forced to hold to get over this slope, but if you do so for even a split second too long, you've got almost no time to react before crashing into this wall. There's barely any room for error, especially since it's in 3 times speed, making it incredibly frustrating on your first few attempts. What makes this even worse is that this is at the end of the level, so you have to get through this awkward enclosed part with huge nerves as well. Because of this, I definitely struggled a lot here before finally beating the level. In fact, this section is a big reason why so many players say Electronamics feels like a demon. If I were RobTop, I'd just remove this block at the top to make the transition a little more forgiving. While this could have easily been the worst click in Geometry Dash, there's still one last part that's even worse. And of course, it's this tight ship section in Theory of Everything 2. This click is infamous for being terrible, and there's a good reason for all of the complaints that it gets from so many players. You'd expect to see something like this in an insane demon, not an easy demon. You're forced to lightly tap right after entering this gravity portal to avoid the slope. then immediately hold afterwards to avoid crashing into the wall. There's practically no room for error, and because it's right at the end of the level, the pressure makes it even worse. I'm honestly surprised RobTop hasn't changed this part after the 11 years that it's been in the game, because this section is just pure evil. Well, that's all I have to say. If you're looking for some easy demons to try for a change, make sure to check out my linked video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Goodbye!